W12 Speedway in Fontana, California. I'm Austin. I am joined by Marco Barbadera, and what a amazing race we have for you today. 24 cars on the grid, and after a great old American Thanksgiving, it's time to end it out with a great old 100-lap race.
Well, first of all, happy Thanksgiving to you, Austin, and to everyone, of course, in the beautiful country of the United States of America. What a better way to celebrate these most festive of weeks than by closing out the IndyCar Open Series season in what has been for many years the last race of the Champ Car and then the IndyCar schedule, of course, here in Fontana, California. It's unseasonably hot outside for the time being. It's going to be 102 degrees, as you can see from the graphics. I think we are going to have a fantastic race. Many big names are out there. Well, let's go, because this is going to be a fantastic way to close out the season. Thank you to everyone who's watching us, and hopefully you enjoy the show.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us here on Apex Racing TV for the final race of the 2019 Season 4 season. And a little bit of a throwback, you said, as Champ Car and IndyCar used to end out their races here. It's got a special place in IndyCar fans' hearts, so we are definitely excited to see. Qualifying has just finished up, so we should have our grid up very soon with...
Just 1 second, because there are... forgot to load the cameras, which now have been loaded, and so let's go through the starting grid with Austin.
Starting up on pole for Power Slide Motorsports, it's Henry Bennett with Marco Aurelio Brazil in P2. They're followed up by Paul Morgan and Shane Burke. In the third row, it's Bradley Walters and Aaron Rufus. In the fourth row, it's Ty Kaveth and Scott Sims, returning after a disastrous Detroit Grand Prix. Get him onto the ovals. We'll see how he does. In the fifth row, it's Ray Kingsbury and Andreas A. In the sixth row, it's Matt A. Kingsbury, brother to Ray Kingsbury, and Sharon van der Sloot right behind him. It's John Downey and John Rubino. Both the Johns starting 13th and 14th. They're followed up by Pierre Bourdin, Laura Gerhardt, AJ Burt, Christian Hagler, Richard Butler, Alessandro Dalladone, Frederick Campbell, and Raymond Garcia in P24 is your grid for today, as everyone is just getting ready to go here at Fontana.
So Austin, it's going to be a 100 lap race, 200 miles for these drivers. It's going to be tough, especially with tire management and the fact that we were talking about it just a few seconds ago. The track is steaming hot.
Yeah, 102 degrees. I'm used to that temperature, but being from Texas, I'm used to just everything just being on fire around me. But you can put a egg on the ground and it'll cook pretty quickly.
Which is great, because eggs are good for you, especially if you go to the gym. And we are rolling. Cameras are on the champion-elect of the series. Henry Bennett is basically with the title in his back pocket, but he will need a good result to be 100% sure of his of his win. But I think he's in a very good position. But of course, still lots to play for. The season finale, of course, everyone wants to win it, because it's the final race before week 13. We want to go home on a high. Another driver we have to keep an eye on is Marco Brazil. After his controversial finish at Indianapolis, he usually only does the ovals, so he's back trying to redeem himself. And we'll see, of course. Nice to have Andreas Hake back after quite a while for Team Talent. Pierre Bourdon is also back. AJ Burton also is back for the Indy 500 group. And there are many drivers. Laura Gerhardt also keep an eye out on her, and of course the duo, the teammates of Paul Morgan and Shane Burke.
Yeah, the Simtech car, they're a familiar paint scheme, and we just always love seeing them around here. So pace car is leading them off and about to go in as we're starting to go racing, as we're green flag here in Fontana for the last race of the season. Henry Bennett leads out Marco Aurelio Brazil around the outside. On board Paul Morgan as he's staying in the draft a little bit higher than the other guys. Here at Fontana, it's always close racing no matter what car, so you're going to be seeing pack racing, IndyCar style here for the final race, but the opening laps should be extremely chaotic, which we kind of like.
We like it a lot, as now Morgan is up into second place, side by side with Marco Brazil, and there's another Simtech car there you can see behind this pack, as we have some smoke. I think it was due to some kind of technical connection issue, maybe it was Marco Brazil, as they keep fighting and fighting. Brazil under attack from Morgan.
Yeah, Paul Morgan trying to get the draft up onto the inside, but Brazil held that inside line. He's been super aggressive with defending, really wants to get a win here. He hasn't got a actual win yet on a broadcast, I believe.
Nope, he hasn't, and he's, you know, in a track like this, it's very possible that we might have a surprise winner. We almost had one in Indianapolis with Aaron Roofs coming in second just by a hair, maybe. It was so close. Henry Bennett won the race, and now Bennett, after waiting for a couple of laps, he is now trying to get back into this leading duo of Brazil and Morgan.
Yeah, you can see the entire pack just stay with each other, being very cautious in the early laps. This is a 100-lap race, and ooh, Brazil making Morgan stay onto the outside line. Bennett trying to sneak it down to the inside. Is he going to get him off the exit? Also, don't count out Bradley Walters.
Another very good driver is Walters. Look at Kvyat making it 3 wide almost with Walters. Need to be super careful as Ray Kingsbury is on the inside. 3 wide. And 3 wide behind them.
3 by 3. This ain't the start of the Indianapolis 500. This is just racing green flag at Fontana. Craziness happening in the pack.
I think that was Scott Sims making a daring move. Cutting, slicing and dicing. In the meantime, Bennett goes up to second, and they are still fighting behind them. Walters, Kingsbury, Sims, all together as Bennett goes for the lead. But here comes Morgan again on the outside. Fantastic racing.
We have a car stopped. It was Sherman Vandersloot, who's gone back going again, but he fell down all the way down the grid.
We have Christian Hegler in the pits, but if the action is too good to go to the replay, this looks like that infamous 2015 race. Someone hit the wall there.
I think Scott Sims hit the wall.
He clipped the wall on the outside there. Let's see if he has some damage. But this will cause a massive slowdown. Check up in the pack. Look how close they are. This is so dangerous, Austin.
I don't see any damage on Scott Sims' car, but he might have some suspicious damage. And if I was him, I would just cruise to the back of the pack and then regain myself, because it's full throttle here around Fontana. And even with the aero push you get in these cars, you pretty much are not lifting at all. So let's ride on board with Scott Sims. He's got Shane Burke as well behind him. And Shane Burke and Scott Sims, they've been falling down the pack. Let's go back up to Ty Kvyat, as there is a little bit of a gap forming up at the front.
Yes, and they are still fighting, with Brazil and Morgan in side-by-side action with Bennett very, very close, and John Downing also is there on the inside defending. Brazil is very, very aggressive. We have, we know that because he's a legendary name, and he's certainly not a driver to shy away from some aggressive defending. The spectacular Brazilian defending very hard on the inside. Oh, look at that now, almost 3 wide once again. Of course, Austin, the more you go on that inside line, the more the tires and the fuel are going to suffer in
Oh, in
defense.
the wall!
Paul Morgan hard into the wall. That is big damage to his car.
Big damage, and I think big
Oh!
engine, and he's in the middle of the pack right now, staying in the middle of the track. Paul Morgan, he's in a lower rev rate. I think he was in third gear right there.
Man,
And
how they did not crash there is beyond me.
I'm surprised we are still under green flag, but he's technically saved it. His car's got a lot of damage, but you were
Oh,
saying,
big hit!
big hit up onto the inside. He stays onto the apron of the track. We're not going to get a yellow. We are still under green, but it's all going crazy right here. This is Neil Coxon right there, right behind. Oh, it just goes down to the inside, and it just gets onto the apron.
Big hit.
Never go underneath the white line. Also, that was Neil Coxworth, not Coxton. There is no Coxton in the race.
We say hello to Apasher, that is having a chat with us in the chat. Hopefully he's enjoying the race. You can see from this camera there is like 5 cars and then a big gap to the rest of the guys.
Are they going 4 wide back there? I think they're 4 wide.
They are. That is also a good comeback so far for AJ Barton. He's gained 8 places.
Yeah, Shane Burke, Ty Keveth, Scott Sims, AJ Burton, all with each other. Scott Sims was on the inside of the track at the start of that corner. Now he's on the outside of the track. Just shows you how much he moves around. So he's trying to cut through this secondary pack to get back to the leaders.
I'm a bit surprised that despite this heavy, very high temperature, we are still having a 2015 style of race, you know, kind of race with this massive pack racing. I was expecting more of a single file kind of deal with the way the weather is today. But, well, better for us. I don't know how happy the drivers are about this, because this is high intensity racing all afternoon long, basically.
Look at that move up the inside. Ty Keveth getting overtaken by AJ Burton, who's holding that inside line, getting into that draft. But Ty's now got the draft off of Shane Burke. And now it's back to AJ Burton. These two having a great battle. I think AJ's going to get that position right there.
On board with Mr. Burton
Oh,
here.
a little bit of a slide. Get down the wall. And I think they're 4 wide up at the front. Yep, Kingsbury taking the lead now.
Ray Kingsbury is in the lead. You can...
He's followed up by John Downing. John, who I believe's been here for every race of the broadcasted series from Phoenix all the way to here. We, of course, remember John Downing by him chasing down the cars for the lead, and unfortunately getting into the wall on the second to last lap. She was closing in with
in Phoenix.
Yeah, Walsh. And he's just been having terrible luck, but now he's down to the inside. Kingsbury's on his inside as he retakes the lead. Leading. There are 2 Kingsburys in the lead. It's Ray Kingsbury and Matt A. Kingsbury.
Oh, here we go again for the lead. On the inside now is Downing. And he will try to take the lead for Sadie Sim Autosport. Unmistakable white and blue livery. More blue than white, if you ask me. Behind them, of course, is the traditional British green of Henry Bennett. He hasn't changed that livery, I think, since he started doing these things seriously a few years ago. So very, very, very unique livery for him. And here we go once again. Top 3. Pulling away just a little. Matt Kingsbury is
they got a second gap to Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil is either biding his time or is in a bit of a crisis with his rubber. We shall see. At the same time, good fight also here in the back. Scott Sims, who is dealing with his damage, is now dropping behind Andrea Seik.
If he has damage.
If he has damage. You know what? I think that some drivers are waiting a bit. You know, they are not forcing the issue just yet. The Burton, Baledonne, these drivers like here, Gerhardt, Roofs, they are waiting a bit to do something crazy.
Craziness is what we love here. I have some information from one of my IndyCar runners in a IndyCar league that runs here lasts about 39 laps. So green flag pit stops are definitely going to be happening unless we get a yellow from this. Richard Butler spinning up onto the infield.
Let's see how he rejoins the track. I think he just spun. Car seems to be not okay because he has just parked it. And that's the end of his race, unfortunately. As we go back to this fight for the lead. Kingsbury Downing, the other Kingsbury, Matt Kingsbury, Bennett, and Brazil.
Yeah, leaders have grouped back up again. We saw them edge away from each other, but now they're back together. The rubber is going to be at a premium right now. John Downing going down to the inside. Biggest mover of the field. Up 12 spots from where he qualified. Back into the lead.
And
ahead of the Kingsbury brothers.
His teammate Bradley Waters will be able to join him very, very soon in that fight for the lead. Brazil is now back in the pack, as also you can see Burton and Roofs are making their way through the grid. But still there in the lead, we keep having swaps of positions every time between Downing and Kingsbury, and I think this will be the status quo for until we get to the first. I mean, there's always smoke when we come out of turn 4. Either one of the back markers is having connection issues because every time we get into fur.
I believe Raymond Garcia is having a little bit of a connection problem because he's flashing on my screen.
Oh yeah, he's right in front of the leaders. Need to be super careful here.
Yeah, there he is, right ahead of them. So a little bit of smoke screen. This might make a few drivers a little bit more cautious. Look at Bennett going all the way to the outside of the track, getting out of that arrow push, just kind of regaining himself as these top four are pulling away from the rest of the field. Also, I want to apologize for any screaming you hear in the background. There is a football game around here, and, you know, we're passionate about football down here.
College, I would imagine, no? Being Friday.
Yes. Yes.
Go Ducks.
Bennett staying in that draft as they're all following. That is a smoke screen.
Man, that must be so annoying for the drivers. He's moving down. Good boy.
Yeah, I think they all just got on the radio saying, you aren't even halfway disappearing on the track right now. Just don't. I'm surprised he hasn't received throughput to an unacceptable level right there. Looking back from Kingsbury as Downing overtakes him. Nope. Yeah, on to Kingsbury. This is John Downing. He's holding off the lead. So I'm holding that inside line. Use more rubber that line. So it's going to be having a little bit less grip than everyone else. But once you're in the lead, you have all the clean air that you need. So if he stays on that inside line and in the lead, he's not really going to be carrying that. He's using up all the rubber that he has in these last 10 laps of this run.
I have to say, we had those couple of single car crashes, but apart from that, a very clean race, which was to be expected, especially because this is a very wide track. So even if you spin, you are usually ending up into the infield, which is very wide, as we have a power move from Kingsbury, Ray Kingsbury on the inside, and he takes back the lead, and now his brother will try to do the same.
Ray Kingsbury in the blue car, and his brother Matt in the golden and white car. I believe they're the same livery, but just different main colors, which is a great design choice by them. As John Downey goes out to the inside. Same move that Ray did to him. But he swings back up the track to take P1.
The more they are, the more they are running, the more the aero push will be felt by these drivers. The more the tires, of course, are getting worse and worse. So doing those moves in turn 4 won't be as easy as it is. Well, we are deep into the run. I mean, 28 laps is quite a big run. So they are still doing it, at least here at the front. But they need to be careful because all of a sudden you might not have that grip you need, and you have a date with that outside wall in turn 4. Also, getting into the pits in this place, especially now, very tough under green flag conditions.
Yeah, Fontana pits, known as one of the hardest, and knowing IndyCars are in the oval spec, they're pretty hard to slow down. We saw a little bit of trouble with that at the Indy 500 at the Indianapolis 2 weeks ago. A lot of lockups going into there, but we mostly had green flag pit stops, and if you remember back to Vegas and green flag pit stops with Marco Brazil and Mike Walsh, pit exits are also going to be very, very important, but it's not as steep as Vegas's pits, but we all know what happened right there.
It's also very bumpy here on the, and you have to do all the way around that blue cone you see on the left side before you can merge. You gotta be super careful there as they are about to get into more lap traffic. Should have Paul Morgan, who was fighting for the lead, of course, but has some, you can see some big damage. He's trying to hold on until the pit stop, but I think he also has some side damage there. Together, yes, he has some pretty big side damage, combined with, I think, you see the front wing damage there. So top 4 making a little bit of a hole behind them. As Downing
getting very close with each other.
Very close with Matt Kingsbury there. As Aaron Roofs is having a fantastic battle here with Hake and Quebec. So we'll have to keep an eye on the pits as we are about to go 3 wide there. Then Roofs thinks better about it. Roofs, something that has shown us, Aaron, is that not only being basically ever present and of course very welcome in the booth after the races, he is also a very consistent driver. He doesn't try to do too much, and it almost paid off in Indianapolis just by, in one of the craziest finishes as we go 3 wide with a lap car.
Paul Morgan sitting in the middle of the track. John Downey says, "I'll take the inside of that free draft." And it looks like Ray Kingsbury was caught off guard from that, and yes, he was.
Marco Brasil, the first driver in. Very, very safe pit entrance. Is anyone going to follow him?
No, no one's following him. Very early from Marco. I think he's trying to predict a crash about to happen.
So you can follow all the action of the pits on the bottom of your screen. You can see the pit stop graphics. So even if we're not showing them, you can follow. Sorry, you can follow all the action down pit road. As we're already on lap 35, Austin. It's lap 34, of course. Man, this race is going past. Yes, because with big damage, remember, or with damage.
No, little damage. Little damage. The way he's been driving, it doesn't look like he has a bunch of damage, but he's heading into the pits right now, and Marco pulls out of the pits.
Oh, I think Kingsbury is about to pit. No.
No, but he was holding that inside line like he's getting ready to, because fuel runs about 38 laps, 39 laps here in Fontana during the race, not on the start, as going down the pits. Into the pits, that is John Rubino.
Yes. So, in real life, they usually, I remember learning this in the infamous 2015 race. The driver who wanted to pit on the backstretch went all the way down, crossed the white line slightly, and then came back up. That was the signal in code to the other drivers, I'm going to pit. And pit they did without any issues.
AJ Burns in pits.
As AJ is in the pits. As we have a close look at his beautiful livery in the 500 group driver, and following him Campbell and Pablo Marin with him as well.
I think next lap is when we're going to see the leaders. I think Ray's coming in this lap.
Well, we'll have to watch from the front wing of the leader and see what happens.
Yeah, John Downing looking
Rear
back
wing.
at the field. Here's Ray Kingsbury staying down onto the inside as they're heading onto the backstretch. You can hear the tire just struggling for grip right there. Just staying down that inside line. John Downing letting off just a little bit. And oh, yep, here comes Ray.
So he's in. And he's the only one of the leaders to pit, but he spins! He saves the car.
He's kept it out of the wall.
Wow.
Not going to have to make a 3-point turn, but that might have been speeding into the pit lane.
As we also had Pierre Bourdon with a bit of an adventure. A couple of seconds ago. The Canadian driver coming into the pits.
Oh,
penalty. That is a penalty for Bourdon. Yeah, he lost a lot of time. Downing and Ake are both in. So is Aaron Roofs. Let's see. Ray Kingsbury is out of the pits now. He spent 46 seconds there, so a stop without penalty. He got lucky there.
Yeah. When you pit is now going to be very tricky when you come back out because green flag pit stops here as his brother Matt's coming into the pits. Henry Bennett staying out. And, of course, he'll be a lap down. So he's going to have to unlap himself. But one lap around here is just going to take about 20 seconds. As our timing screen is going absolutely haywire right now.
Yeah, I mean, these drivers are basically all pitting. Daledon is also in. Keveth stayed out as well. I think these are the only two drivers without a pit stop.
Henry Bennett's in the pits. Keveth, I believe, is going to be coming into the pits right now. Yes, he is. And John Downing's unlapping himself.
Ray Kingsbury has lost a lot of time. He's now behind AJ Burton. That pit entrance cost him a lot. So here comes Bennett. Of course, now Kingsbury is Ray Kingsbury hoping for a caution to bunch up the field. As the pole sitter is in. Keveth also in his pit stall. Here comes...
I believe Matt's our technical leader right now.
Yes, he might be as Downing goes on the inside. Bennett is coming out of the pits, but I think it will be no match for these two guys here. They should be safely in the lead, and there they go, Downing.
Yes, they are. I believe this is, yeah, it's Downing, Kingsbury, and Walters we're seeing right there, as Bennett's just now coming out of the pit lane and back out on track right behind our 4 leaders.
Well, in the end, Ray Kingsbury didn't lose much, you know, but still, I think he's hoping for a caution.
Oh, we got a car with one wing. Who was that? Yeah, it was...
There's a... I think it's Raymond Garcia. He's disappearing and reappearing, and maybe you caught a glimpse of him. Or maybe not.
No, I think that might have been Ty Kvet's car. Let's take a look at Ty. Nope, Ty has the front wing. It was a great car. AJ Burton?
I think Burton is okay. No, he's
no,
not
he's
okay.
Not.
Wow, what happened there? Good catch, man.
Oh, I think that's Raymond Garcia right next to him. He may have just appeared right next to him and took off his wing and then disappeared before anything could happen.
He is already without his front wing here. I'm trying to see if we can find
Maybe
the moment.
Pit stop.
Man, what happened there? I'm honestly cannot find. No, he's missing that front wing for quite a bit. Okay, here we go.
The front wing.
Maybe he was passing Paul Morgan at this point. Good catch, man. How did you catch that? Oh! Good
well.
catch, man. That's why you are a good commentator. Great commentator, should I say. Great catch.
Thank you. And you're a great commentator as well.
I spent a little bit of time searching the replay, but we found it.
We didn't know who it was. We just saw a car with one wing, and I'm like, okay, which one of these cars are great? I was surprised it was AJ Burton because he's putting in some consistent laps and he's up there in 8th place right now. But big hit for AJ as one of the Simtech cars was heading into the pits. He came into the back of them. Guess there's no warning.
It was Paul Morgan, who's of course with heavy damage after that hit with the wall. And of course you see now Pierre Bourdon hoping for a caution as well, because even though he's a lap down, of course, because of the penalty he got. Kingsbury, that is Matt Kingsbury, Downing, and Walters. Walters and Downings, you can see from the liveries, are teammates. They can work together.
Yeah, Sadie Simsport being very well. Matt Kingsbury all about his brother right now, Ray, who had that unfortunate pit stop slide at the when he was going into pits, so he's down in 4th place.
They're still passing each other lap after lap. This is Ray Kingsbury, sorry, following behind Henry Bennett. So Bennett, do you think he made a mistake in stopping this late?
No, I don't think so, because they have another green flag stop right ahead of them. It's all about staying clean and well in green here. If you do have a late caution, you're going to be bunched off everybody else. You don't want to risk your car. As seeing this group with Burton and Kaveth and Scott Sims, and with Burton getting that front wing chopped off, he's going to be a big safety hazard for the rest of these cars out here, because he's not going to have the grip as he comes out all the way down to the inside right ahead of Tiger Beth.
Also, Marco Brasil has lost a lot of time.
Yeah, what has happened to him?
I don't know what happened to him, but he pitted very early, so maybe now he's oh, this is going to be tasty.
Alessandro looks for the outside move around Brazil, but he's right behind the Brazilian. Ooh, you saw that giant wobble from him.
Keep seeing the smoke from Raymond Garcia, who's very, very distracting to all these drivers. So maybe Brazil is paying his very early stop. Austin, that's the only thing I can think about, because his car seems to be okay.
It looks all right. We're gonna AJ Burton right now. Pretty much nowhere to go as Ty Kaveth is being overtaken by Scott Sims as he's forcing his way very close around the outside.
How did he squeeze past his front right? I have no idea, and they almost collide on the backstretch. Crazy driving from these two guys.
Ty Kaveth
fight continues.
Yeah, Scott Sims, I know him from Formula 1 racing on the Formula 1 games when I commentated on there for a bit. And that is a typical Scott Sims type overtake right there.
As we are still fighting here between Brazil and Dalle Donne. Marco Brasil actually,
Whoa! And almost comes back across the track into Raymond Garcia. No yellow flags. We saw that wiggle a few laps ago coming out of the first turns, and I thought that may have been a setup thing, and we saw that is a constant thing happening to him, and you see he's giving his car a little bit of wiggles, but I think he's running a very, very aggressive setup.
So this fight for the lead continues. More than a fight, I think they are, of course, trying to work together as much as possible, Austin, to pull away from Bennett. Maybe Kingsbury or will try to work with Bennett, Ray Kingsbury, to get back into the pack. But certainly they have made their way, they pulled away from the rest of the pack, these three guys here, and they are doing a good job at doing that, because we are past the halfway mark, and now they are going after they're passing, lapping, should I say, Sherwin, Thunder's Loot. Very wide track, so it's not a difficult proposition. Sherwin is, of course, very, very clean, and you can see the track map making its triumphant return. And you can see where your favorite driver is. As man, Raymond Garcia is really, 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 really blinking there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if
He's pitting. I think he's
he's
parking
going
the
to
car.
the pits, but I'm very surprised that he is still having connections to this session right now with how many times he's blinked.
Our event viewer is not liking this at all. As Marco Brasil.
Oh wow.
Marco Brasil went past Frederick Campbell now. Here we go once again. Downing and Bradley Waters, the teammates, swap drafting and making their way through. We see now AJ Burton is still dropping. Now he's in P14, behind Campbell and in front of Dalle Donne. Juan Pablo Marin is in P16. So the leaders are about to lap. They are about
back straight right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're closing in on Vander's Sloot.
Yes, so it was not Van der Sloot, the guy they lapped. I apologize for that, but yeah, they are about to get.
Yeah, it was Paul Morgan that they lapped.
Yeah, they are about to get. So basically, Burton needs to find something like strategy call, something, because otherwise he's going to be lapped. And when you get lapped and there's a caution, it is no good for you. You need to hope that everyone in front of you stops to get the wave around. So,
well, they do have one last pit stop to go. Mm-hmm. Max fuel runs to the 100 lap mark, but since we don't go over that, the earliest you can pit right now is lap 61 to safely go 39 laps to lap 100. But I would say lap 62 just to be safe for the earliest pit stop that you can do. These guys, Bennett and Bradley Walters, these guys last went into pits in lap 39. Bennett actually went into pits on lap 40. So I'm expecting these guys to go about to lap 82 on this tank of fuel. So expecting around lap 70 is when everyone's going to go back into the pits.
The only problem is that Burton probably is burning a bit more fuel, because of course the car is not as efficient as it would be when he's in a good state.
Yeah, and he's in a little bit of a fight, so he can draft with Ray Kingsbury, but Ray's just staying behind Benton.
Dashboard time.
Beautiful miles per hour being shown up there. 223 miles per hour down the back straight here at Fontana.
I mean, this is the perfect situation for Downing and Walters. So they are 2 against 1 against a very experienced driver, we have to say, like Kingsbury. But still, they have the numbers advantage. The race is going green.
You see what Kingsbury's doing?
Yeah,
he's shifting it.
Yeah,
he's staying in 6th gear, but he's not attempting to pass either of these two. He's letting them juggle positions as he's just getting that free draft and coasting around the track right behind him. He's down to 5th, shifts up to 6th when he just needs to coast. He will shift down into 5th gear into the corners if he's getting a little bit too close. See, back down to 5th into the corner. Keep the power in there, but not too much power that he's going to lose them. And then once he gets back onto the back straight, back up to 6th gear.
And he will lift, I think, in a bit.
Yep, there it goes. He just lifted off the throttle.
He's doing like in cycling, no? He's letting the others work, and he's not giving them, a bit of relief at the front. As Kingsbury, Ray Kingsbury, with a better pit entrance. Yeah. So good improvement.
He's even damage front wing. I think the front wing might be... Nope.
No, it's okay.
All right, just the way that camera looked. It's straight. All right, Kingsbury pitting on lap 63, just like what I said.
You're a great
The
commentator.
pit stops. It's math.
I'm very bad at math, so. I mean, I
Oh,
need
I
all
just used my
your help.
calculator. I just had to add
Ah.
100 minus 39.
No one is following Kingsbury as of yet.
He's out of the pit lane.
He's out of the pit lane and is...
Did he even stop?
Yes, he did. It was a 8-second stop. Pablo
That
Marin
was fast.
is in.
Marine, little bit of a eventful stop right there, but he's making it work. Very wonderful nose on that car, I must say.
Yes, it is. Look at that.
That is a wonderful graphic.
Let's see if the weather has changed a bit as the clouds are now coming on top of the racetrack here.
Maybe have a little bit more grip on the track.
Mm-hmm.
You see, just staying out. I said to lap 70. Track temperature has fallen down to 97 degrees, so you might want to take over those eggs off the track right now. They're probably well done.
Now, who is going to blink first? Do you think? I think that the two Sadie guys are on the radio with each other. Do you think that Kingsbury will follow them, or will he try to undercut them, or will he do the opposite? Will he stay out? Of course, he needs to stay with them, I think, because if he pits separate from them, they are going to have the draft of each other, whilst he will be probably all alone.
There are
Unless-
10 laps from when they need to go into the pits. 39, they'll looking into a lap 78 pit stop right here. So they're within 10 laps of needing to go into the pits. I think it's going to be John Downey going to the first, then Bradley, then Matt's going to keep on a lap to his own, and then going, because he's just been sitting behind them and just carrying it on his own, as that's AJ Burton being lapped. Yeah, I see Matt, he's just sitting back behind Bradley, even as they were just looking for... Ooh, there's AJ Burton. That was Ty Kaveth being lapped. And AJ finally getting into the pits, going to get that front wing replaced.
He's going
After
to
that
7
bizarre-
seconds. 7 seconds extra from his stop, so he needs a mega run from now until the end of the race. Interesting pit entrance in install, and you will see in a bit he will have a new front wing, but we still focus on this fight for the race lead as the sun is back out on the track, as Marco Brazil is in as
Kingsbury's
well.
in the pit. Matt Kingsbury's in the pits. That is something we were not expecting.
You know,
We
maybe
were
he's hoping
definitely
that his brother picks him up, and they can basically give themselves some draft to each other. Because
Yeah,
you
Ray's
know,
sitting in 15th place right now, and he's just well, he's just he's just now entering the back straight. That is actually a good idea. Ray is sitting in front of 4th and behind him. That's Lord Gearhart action in that green card. As it looks like John Downing is now separated into the lead ahead of Bennett. Yep, the two Sadie Sim Sport cars are way into the lead and very much in command of this race. I say Downey's going to head in on lap 77 with Bradley falling right behind on lap 78.
you know, I think for once as Downing
Oh,
is in,
right now!
Downing is in, and for once I think I'm right, because look at that. It's Kingsbury and Kingsbury all together.
You are a
Downing-
great commentator and predictor.
Downing and Andrea Seik are both in. So Bradley Walters, I think, will come into the pits right now. Another driver is in, is Frederick Campbell, already out as well. We'll keep an eye on eventual penalties, etc. For these drivers. You can follow their times on the bottom of your screen. If it's around 8 to 10 seconds, it's a good stop. More than that, a penalty. So, and
Walters is staying out, and Bennett is closing in on Walters.
Last lap for Bennett was 7/100ths of a second quicker than Bradley Walters. Burke and Gerhardt are both in. You know, there is only one thing missing from this race, and I think a caution. I don't not saying that I want a caution. I'm saying that this race has had almost everything. Here we go.
Walters into the pits, and retaking the lead is Henry Bennett. Very tricky.
Yeah.
Very tricky for Walters going in there. He's going to lose a few time from there. And now Bennett, we're expecting him to come in next lap. Alessandro Daldone, after a very eventful spin. Well, wiggle, as I must say. Carries on in 4th place, now 3rd. So all eyes are on Bennett when he's going to be going to pits. And also interesting pit stall strategy for Bradley Walters as he's coming out.
Good stop for him, no penalties. And here we go. Here come the Kingsbury brothers together with John Downing. Walters is coming out of the pits. You will see on the back.
He's not going to have the speed. They're going to just cruise right up behind him and be picked up by him. But it's going to be a 4-way pack. 2 Sadie Sinsport cars and the Kingsbury brothers going to be racing on for the net lead here as Bennett goes into the pit lane.
Here we go. Oh, look at that.
That was beautiful. That's beautiful right there.
This is officially the fight for the lead then. Probably Bennett will also be in this, I think, as Roofs also comes in. But, I mean, this is fantastic. We have 4 drivers, 2 teammates and 2 other teammates fighting against each other for the race lead. New leader, temporary leader is Daledonne, as is the only car we are waiting to stop.
2 by 2, both teammates each other. 2 by 2, they go 2 wide and color-coded as well. So get your cameras out. This is like formation racing right here. As here comes Bennett out of the pit lane, and he is going to get dropped down by the leaders. And here is Alessandro Daldone. Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle right there. And back to the leading pack between Downing, the Kingsbury brothers, and Bradley Walters.
I mean, this is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Get your cameras out, ladies and gentlemen. This is beautiful. Here goes Downing down onto the inside to overtake Kingsbury. Beautiful pack racing here at Fontana. Got a little bit of questionable during the mid-race when we were after our first pit stop, but they've all rejoined each other in a bigger pack and fight for the lead.
I love these races where, you know, all race long you have different drivers having different, strings, you know, and then all these strings tie together at the end of the race, you know, so I love when, you know, yes, the mid-race might have been a little bit dull, but I like that now all the strategy have come together and it's a straight fight until the finish. And, you know, the more these guys fight, and they will start to fight in a bit, you can see way back there, there's that green dot of Henry Bennett. He might still have a word to say in this race.
Yeah, Henry Bennett is lapping faster than all 4 of these guys. He just set a 32.1. Fastest lap in this group is average about 32.2. So 1/100th of a second faster is Henry Bennett as he's closing down on these 4 leaders. So we might have a 5-way race for the victory, but currently it's the 2 teammates against each other.
By the way, we have news, retirement for
yellow flag.
Caution! Caution is out, Paul Morgan. No.
Yes.
Yes. Well,
Yellow white line. Oh, it gets onto the white line. Car gets turned around, goes up
Oh.
hard into the wall. I believe he's on his roof right there. No, he's not. And, oh,
well,
there's always one. There is always one yellow flag on our ovals. We had our longest run without a caution, 81 laps out of the entire series, and we finally got one. Insanity.
man, this throws a curveball. The happiest man in the field, this guy here. He's
Who's
now-
going to go into the pits? Who's going to
Yeah.
risk a strategy and go into the pits now?
Good question. This is, you know, you could take the gamble. I mean, I don't know about the top 5, but if you are Brazil, if you are Dalle Donne, Roofs, you can make the gamble, I think. Let's see.
We saw the gamble work out in Vegas with people staying out for the lead. But I think at this track, with how much you push and how much you're battling in the final few laps, you definitely want to go into the pits. So they're coming around turn 4 right now. Onto the front straight, we're going to see who's going to go into the pits. I think everyone's just looking at what Ray's going. Ray's looking into the pit lane. I think this is a dummy, though. He's serious. Both Kingsburys are doing it. The Sadie Simsport teams are staying out. The Simtech cars are going in. Marco's going in. Henry Bennett's also in. Scott
Yeah.
Sims is in.
Everyone apart from the Sadie boys and Bennett and Vandersloot. Vandersloot, remember, he took the gamble staying out in Vegas and it paid off beautifully for him, if you remember. But
Got
yeah,
a message from AJ Burton. Too many amateurs in this field. People need to take responsibility for their stupidity. And if you remember what happened to AJ, he got his front wing cut off by one of the Simtech guys. I believe that was
I mean,
Paul Morgan who brought that out.
sadly, you know, there's the competitive streak of the drivers, especially AJ. I know him very well,
definitely.
and he's, you know, he so desperately wanted to end the season on a high, and you know, but I think in his heart he knows that that sadly is a racing accident, and nothing. I mean, there was nothing malicious on the part of Paul Morgan there. Too bad, but AJ will come back next season stronger, I think. By the way, the calendar should be. We know there's a draft of the calendar in the forums. It will be published by the end of the week or early next week when the new build rolls out. We will have a double header in Homestead. I'm very excited about that, Austin.
Yeah, we're gonna have a double header in Miami, and I'm gonna be very excited for those two races because it's the road course and then it's the oval and then the road course. I kind of wish we do that with Indianapolis, have the Grand Prix and then the oval like they do in real life. But I'm very excited for next season. That's in the middle of the calendar as well.
So you can see there are 15 cars on the lead lap, and also lights should be out on the iRacing pace car.
It is.
I mean, have you seen the new Mustang for the V8 supercars that's coming? That's so beautiful. I mean, I'm in
I will
love.
be racing. I will be racing that when it comes out because I'm a huge American fan. I love Ford. I don't own a Ford. I run Toyotas, but that's
Me
because
too.
of
I mean, in real life I have a Toyota, but I love Ford. But that's so you should come race with us on Saturday evenings, European, or your afternoons in the Euro V8 next season. It's a free championship, and we broadcast it. And I am the commentator. What more can you want from that?
you might be seeing me here and there then.
Okay, so this was a big curveball. Downing, Walters, Bennett, and Vandersloot have old tires. Not very old, but old tires nonetheless.
Lap 75 is the youngest tires of these leaders. That is Sherrod Vandersloot and Bennett
Downing and Walters went into the pits on laps 71 and 73. The first fresh tires are the Kingsbury brothers in 5th and 6th. We saw the old tires work out in Vegas on the Gale, but we're going back green flag racing in with a few laps remaining here in Fontana. Sadie Simsport leads out everybody else.
Man, I'm so happy I was able to pull off that shot of the
that's
field
just
going
beautiful.
through. Okay, the top 4 are still together, but of course the Kingsbury brothers, Kveth, Ake, and of course you know what they say now. You know, it's very easy for a caution to bring then another caution.
Caution. What Ronnie Sandstewart has told me, caution breeds caution babies. And look at the Kingsbury brothers double drafting down onto the inside to get the overtake on. Who was that? Is that a Matt?
Oh, Walters is a bit
Bradley
wide.
Walter.
Oh, they are big choke point there. They managed to survive Vandersloot, the winner of the jackpot in Vegas.
Look at Ray Kingsbury up around the outside now, trying to hold it around Vandersloot and everyone else. We remember Vandersloot, he won it off taking the gamble in Vegas, but the Kingsbury brothers have moved up throughout the field, and they're back in 3rd and 4th place. And now here they go down to the inside onside of John Downing.
Man.
They got Downing, and here's Ray. Is Ray going to swing up onto the middle of the track? Yes, he is.
And they say cautions are boring. They are so excited. 3 wide behind them. Oh man, it takes so little. And look at Marco Brasilis coming out of nowhere.
Where did the Brazilian come from? The Brazilian turns around. He spins Bradley Walters and keeps going.
It's John Downing.
John Downing.
Caution is out.
Unfortunate for John Downing. He will be furious. Marco Brazil, one of the more aggressive drivers on track, just gets into the back of him, and he does have a little bit of damage. So another curveball being thrown here in Fontana in the season finale. It's right on board with Downing, and oh, that's unfortunate. Lap 87.
For the guys behind, let's see.
A little bit too far behind. On board with Frederick Campbell, right next to Laura Gerhardt. See the smoke, and everyone just like, okay, where are we going? A lot of room to work around here, so no one really was scared. It's right on board with Alessandro Deladone. That's the scariest thing.
I knew he didn't lift. I was sure about that. Man, these Italians are so unreliable.
That's on you. I don't have anything to say about that.
I mean,
so we now know taking tires.
Yeah, he's trying to hide it running with a Thai license, but he's Italian.
So we saw taking pit stops is the preferred strategy because the Kingsbury brothers, they moved up throughout the entire field. So going into the pits, Bradley Walters, the sole car heading into the pit lane. Okay, I made that up. John Downing's also going in with Scott Sims. But these are the only 3 cars, so they will have the advantage over the rest of the field. Sjoerd Vandersloot still has not gone into the pit lane.
But only 10 laps, maybe even less, of green flag racing to make up those positions. Vandersloot, we know from experience, it was a narrower track in Vegas, but still, he was perfect. He played his cars perfectly in Las Vegas to win that race. So, he's going to be very, very tough to pass. He's the wizard of all tires. We know that. So, everyone behind him is in for a bit of a fight. Brazil's car seems to be okay out of all that.
It's got a bent front wing. Look at that front right wing. It's got a little bit of a bend in it after T-bowing the car of John Downing.
It's the angle of the...
No, it's not the angle. That wing is not straight.
That bend is not natural. Go onto that camera. That's somebody else's car. You will see that that angle is not natural.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But Brazil stays out. Brazil stays out. We should go. Bourdon is in. We should go green flag racing next lap, I think.
Yes, we will, because the lights are going out. Right on cue. Sweet. You hear the burning off the fuel in their cars. So I'm just holding down the clutch, then just popping off the rev limiter as we're going to have 10 laps to go racing.
Let's see who would be the biggest gainer. Of course, thanks to SDK Gaming.
Freddie Campbell.
You could have...
No, Alessandro Daldone. Or Mick No Lift.
No, I think I was talking about iRating, and this you can have thanks to the beautiful SDK Gaming application that you can also use while you're driving over your simulator. If you only have one screen, this is very useful.
I would say Matt Kingsbury.
The Kingsbury, they will both gain 97. How about that?
Well, on my secondary screen, I'm getting 98 for Matt A. Kingsbury. He is finishing ahead of his brother, so just give him another bit of iRating. I think he's like in the middle bit, but yeah, both of them sitting at plus 97 on your screen, plus 98 and plus 97 on mine. So both Kingsbury brothers so productive here today. As the pace car is in, and here goes Sherman Vandersloot. We got 10 laps to go here in Fontana. Let's end out the season with a bang.
And they will, of course, bunch up straight away on the backstretch. I think this is what we saw in Indianapolis. They string out at the start, but as soon as the draft comes into play, they will all bunch together. Here we go. Matt Kingsbury going for the lead.
Matt's going to have that no contest whatsoever. Ray Kingsbury sitting on the back of Vandersloot, following his brother down onto the inside track. Sherman does not have the grip to follow him down there. And look who's behind him. Henry Bennett is rejoining the front leaders.
We're having some massive fight here at the back as well. Oh, look at that. Look at the Sadie boys, of course. Trying to get as many positions as possible. They are
trying to go around the outside. They're going 3 wide, 4 wide down the back straight here in Fontana.
Bradley Walters and John Downing, of course, trying to gain as many positions as possible. As Ben is up to second, but let's follow these 4 wide for a bit as they go to the start-finish line. They need to be super careful there. Sims and Roofs are also coming. Look at that inside as Roofs tries to make a move there. We have to cut away from this, unfortunately, even though it's a beautiful fight, because here we go for the lead. We have another guy as well. Taikeveth and Marco Brazil have joined the party, so Brazil with a damaged front wing.
Brazil swinging around the outside of Keveth. You see the Kingsbury brothers holding down the inside line. Here goes Bennett swinging up onto the track, trying to get ahead of Sherman Vandersloot. Taikeveth sitting in the middle of the track. They're 3 wide in the middle, and Sherman Vandersloot almost comes into tied right there.
Here comes Andrea Seik to join the fight in the red car. Oh, slicing and dicing for Brazil there.
Heart and mouth moment racing for Marco Brazil, making all the most dangerous moves you've ever seen, but he wants this win. He's never won a broadcasted race here on the NTT Indycar Open Series races.
We have other contenders, Shane Burke and Alessandro Dalle Donne are also in this fantastic fight for the lead. Brazil! Pigna! Terrible crash. Brazil again.
Brazil and Keveth get in there. Keveth's on his roof, and Brazil is not happy about that. Boom. Oh, and Daldone was involved, and I can guarantee you he didn't lift.
Oh, it seems to be okay.
Yep.
He got the lucky bounce on the netcode. Yeah.
Insane crash to finish off that run. I think we're going to have a lap.
Yes, I think that
We're going to have a repeat of the Indianapolis one-lap shootout, which has over 3,000 views on Twitch now. It's a crazy number. Yeah, we're definitely going to have one lap shootout, or maybe 2 lap shootouts here to end off the IndyCar Open Series. Everyone's going to be staying out. No one's going into the pits.
If we watch the replay once again, I'm sorry this time, but I think this is on Marco. You can see from the chopper.
Well, he's down to the inside of the track. This comes up, no grip, right into the side of Kaveth. I believe that's all.
Crash one more time from Tavedonne's rear wing to see if he had damage on that side of the car. But I think, you know, when the car is bouncing in the air, you sometimes get the lucky netcode and you can just go straight through the madness. Oh, the car is perfectly fine. Barbanera quality.
You just wanted to see your name on stream.
No, not true, not true.
Well, the Spark VR cars for the Kingsbury brothers sitting 1 and 2. They're in the best seat of the house in Fontana as Andreas Ike has bunched up the entire field. What has happened there? What is he doing? Oh, they're waiting for Sharon Vandersloot. Vandersloot was doing something weird, and he had to let him back. Like a girlfriend?
You know, cat, dog, whatever, you know, it happens. House fire, usually, so problem.
Yeah. Well, lights going to go out next time by, and it will be a 2-lap shootout here in Fontana.
If the madness wasn't already top level, we are going to have a fantastic fight. It will go down to the wire, as I think it's right, because this has been a fantastic season. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for following us on Friday evenings and choosing to watch the IndyCar series as Bourdon is in together with other drivers. Oh, we are going racing then. Yeah, 2 laps shootout, green-white checkered. Call it however you want. We're going to have 2 more laps in this beautiful season 4 of 2019 of the IndyCar series. Man, Austin, it has been an honor to cover it with you, and I think the season will go out with some pretty big fireworks in these final 2 laps. Who is your pick?
One of the Kingsbury brothers, I must say. I know it's cheating saying 2 people at once, but they've just been so consistent with each other and so dominating, moving up the field together, and it's going to be one of the Kingsburys, I must say.
My pick is this guy, Henry Bennett. He was winner of the 1-lap shootout in Indianapolis, but
due to a 6-car wreck.
Yes, you know. One thing is for
Small
sure.
detail.
I don't think that the Kingsbury brothers will crash into each other, but
Yeah.
But you know, with a 2-lap shootout, because 1 lap around here, you can stay in front. But 2 laps, don't think it's going to be possible. Of course,
you know, we haven't really talked about. We haven't talked about the Swede Andreas Ike.
Yeah. Look at Kingsbury holding the inside.
Yeah, Kingsbury holding down the inside. And his brother, Ray, staying up onto the outside as the pace car is going in, and they're going back racing. We got green, white, checkered here for the last race in Fontana. Great restart by everybody. A little bit of movement in the back, but the Kingsburys are back together. Let's see if Sherman Vandersloot can keep it together on those extremely old tires. Bennett onto the back of the Kingsburys. White flag is in the air.
Sale la banca. Oh!
Bennett caught up into the middle. Short Vandersloot looking down to the outside. Look at Ray Kingsbury defending that outside line. Matt Kingsbury down onto the inside. Ray's in the middle. Bennett boxed in. Nowhere to go. Short Vandersloot. Andreas Ike. He's also onto the outside in that white and red car. So they got one last corner to go. Matt Kingsbury down to the inside. Ray, he's on the outside.
Oh,
Bennett,
the crash!
around. And it's going to be Ray onto the apron, side by side in the grass. It's going to be Matt Kingsbury by 100ths of a second, and chaos across
and the
line.
big one happens behind them.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
What a finish! Congratulations, Matt Kingsbury, for the win. Another super close finish in this championship. Vandersloot finishes in third with what's left of his car. Andrea Seik is fourth and Alessandro Dalle Donne is fifth. Let's watch this final lap again.
And again, because I really like that. That was awesome. Ray Kingsbury tried to hold it down onto the inside of the track. He was cutting the track, just trying to get any advantage that he can. But unfortunately couldn't get past his brother. But look what happens to Bennett right here. Bennett got turned around by, I think that may have been one of the Simtech cars that got into him. Or he just lost it on his own by going underneath the apron. This is where it happened. Bennett moving up. Ray Kingsbury comes down a little bit. He just checks up. And here's the finish between Ray and Matt. Ray, he's trying as hard as he can. And one of the Simtech cars, I believe that was Sherman Vandersloot. It was Sherman Vandersloot and Andreas Ike getting together. You're Alessandro Dalle Donne. He saw that ahead of him. He goes, "I'll take the free spot."
Yeah, I think
This is the last lap.
He also was the reason for the big one at the end. But more than that, I want to see is he had like a feline-like reaction at the first crash. You will see it now. I mean, I don't know. He's been very lucky tonight, huh?
Crazy luck for Alessandro. Sees that move down onto the inside, and then he's gonna start seeing smoke very soon, and then does not what a twitch by him. And let's. It was after the line. It was after the line.
After yes, after the line. I mean, a big one to end the season. Big race to end the season. Congratulations to all the drivers. It was a thing of beauty, and we can finally give you the race results.
After a wonderful.
These are not the race results.
After a wonderful race and season, I must say I am super happy that it came up to this. At the start of the season, we said we really want a IndyCar series broadcasted, and well, I think this is now a permanent thing as Matt Kingsbury takes the win ahead of Ray Kingsbury by 100th of a second. Ahead of Sharon Vandersloot in third, Andreas Ike, Alessandro Dalle Donne, Frederick Campbell, Bradley Walters, Laura Gerhardt, John Downey, Scott Sims, Aaron Rufus, Shane Burke, Henry Bennett, John Rubino, Pablo Marin, Pierre Bourdin, Marco Brazil, Ty Keveth in 18th. They're followed up by Paul Morgan, AJ Burton, Raymond Garcia, Richard Butler, Neil Coxworth, and Christian Hagler in 24th place. And I think we already have a interview, and it's your buddy, the man who doesn't lift with the feline reaction times, Alessandro Dalle Donne.
Hello
Alessandro, welcome to the booth. Fantastic result for you, fifth place in the end. So tell us about your race and that crazy final lap.
It was a very nice lap, kind of like a beautiful track race in Talladega, where you are trying to do everything possible to get any possible position, even 50 meters before the finish line. and I knew something was gonna happen, and thank God I was behind, so I avoided it. I don't know how, but we managed to finish fifth after a race. I was not even imagine to be ending, to be fair.
Yeah, you had a lucky escape with Marco Brazil crash a few laps earlier. How scary was that? You went through the crash basically.
You know, it's Marco Brazil, so uh, we are all expecting that. So whenever I'm close to him, I know I have to be extra careful. You know, and yeah, IndyCar racing is very hectic, so anything can happen anytime. So it's a matter of luck and being quick in wreck avoidance, which thank God I'm really good.
We saw you in the first part of the race. You held back a lot. Was that part of the plan?
Yeah, that was my practice because I decided to race 2 minutes before the race. I asked AJ, well, how was the car, and I saw there was a big field, only one speed, so I said, time to do this. And so my goal was just to lay back, avoid any botti, as in Italian we say crash, and just to learn some laps. Then I knew that the caution was coming out sooner or later, but a lot later than I expected.
I don't know if Austin has a question for you.
Well, we saw you just going all over the place, trying to avoid incidents. You said not crash or, but you have a very odd avoiding style of just flat out. You didn't lift once.
Yeah,
Is that just you? Bravery.
obviously, if you ain't first, you're last. You say so. Even if I was 10th, my aim was to get first. Even it's a bit unrealistic. You never lift. I was for the old NASCAR rule race to the line. So this new yellow system doesn't fit me. I should have raced 20 years ago in the old stock cars and never lived there.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. It's the final race of the season. Anyone to shout out before you go?
Not really. I'd want to just thank you for providing this broadcast and giving us as an IndyCar community, which I'm not actively part of. And I'm sorry, but I'm lazy. Showcasing these races, which are very important to grow as a community within the racing fan base.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and thank you for giving us a wonderful show, Alessandro. Any last word from you, Marco?
No. Thanks, Alessandra, for providing us another spectacular race, and we will catch you next season, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We got the winner of Matt Kingsbury up next. So let's get him in here right now. Howdy, Matt. Congrats on P1.
Yeah, thanks, Costin. It was a really fun race out there, and felt really nice to get a win out in that race.
Yeah, you were side by side with your brother who was just cutting down to the inside. I don't know if he's actually your brother, maybe a cousin. Are you brothers?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you were side by side with your brother who was trying anything he could do to get past you. Got onto the grass. What was going through your mind on that green, white, and checkered?
Yeah, I actually almost wrecked it going into one. There's I don't know if it's our setup or something with the track that I never noticed before, but going into one on the bottom there, my car gets loose in the straightaway. So I actually got sideways on a white flag lap there going into one. So I was pretty much freaking out because I didn't want to be pinned down that low. And thankfully I managed to hold on to it. But he gave me a lot of room, which is nice. And, I obviously we're teammates and brothers, so we're going to wreck each other out.
Well, at the end, after the finish line, you might, but that's just my sibling rivalry. Marco, any questions?
I mean, how was it? Because I think you worked together with your brother for 99 laps, and then the final lap was, I think, a free for all. No, how How strange is that, or are you used to it?
Yeah, I mean that's how any racing is, any teammate, and I think we got separated for the race because he had a bad pit stop or something, and I ended up working with Downing and Walters, who we were running similar aero packages, so it worked really well. But I knew our car could pin it to the white, so I knew that like as long as I held it on the white line, I was doing my job, and I just had to trust he would do his, not hit me.
Well, Matt, thank you for racing with us. Hopefully, we see you and your brother more frequently next season.
Yeah, we'll definitely be in more often, for sure.
Awesome. Austin, do you have any final remarks for our race winner?
Before you leave, anyone you want to shout out?
Yeah, gotta thank my sponsor, Spark VR. They're a virtual reality arcade here in Connecticut, in the United States, close to Massachusetts. So if you're in the New England area, definitely check them out. They got iRacing, full motion rigs with AccuForces and VR setup.
Well, I think I know where I'm going when I visit Connecticut now.
It's the only thing really to do up here besides Lime Rock and Stafford. So.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us a great show and giving us a great race to watch and go crazy in the closing laps because that was, if you could tell by my voice, it was very fun.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you were at the top of your voice.
Yeah, that's what I'm known for. You have a great day, man.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Next up, we have one of my personal friends, Scott Sims,
for
coming.
Oh.
Hey, Scott, how are you doing?
Sorry, I was talking in the waiting room. I'm doing. I guess I'm doing okay. It's just feel like I got in the wall really early. I got. See, I started like mid pack or maybe not mid pack, a little bit like top 8, and then I got up to the top 4 pretty early. But as soon as I got up to top 4, I got tight and I bounced the wall and I just drifted backwards and I could never really regain my spots lost from there on out. But I ended up getting a top 10. So. But yeah.
You had did you get damaged when you hit the wall? That was our main concern because we didn't see any physical damage, but you did fall off a lot of pace. Did you have any suspension damage?
I couldn't really tell, to be honest. That first stint was all about like my tire wear fell. Everyone's tire wear probably fell off faster that first stint, so I really couldn't tell. And then after that, I was just in like a 1 or 2 car pack, and I could really never tell. At the end, I felt like maybe just wasn't sucking up. But like I said, I still couldn't tell. It just felt ever since I lost that track position, the race was just really hard after that.
All right, all right. Well, top 10 and well, your first finish of the series because we obviously in Detroit you didn't really in your debut race didn't really have that much of a good time. I believe Marco has a question for you.
Austin told me you have a past history of the F1 simulator. How different it is running in the ovals with such a tight competition in a very tight formation here on the IndyCar series.
You're asking what the difference between the Codemasters Formula One game is compared to um, the IndyCar on iRacing?
No, yeah, but also the way you approach the racing in the two different disciplines between F1 and the IndyCar.
I guess IndyCar, I guess I pretty much prepare. I think about if I want to try to qualify the front or if I want to start in the back. And pretty much F1, you have to think you got to start the highest you can, and yeah, you pretty much. I feel like I constantly looking at people's strategies in this IndyCar race, tire or when they're pitting, um, and when my tire wear's falling off. But I guess just Formula One, your kind of mindset is just run the best lap you can every single lap, and yeah, I definitely feel like I'm thinking a lot more of the opponents, and when it comes to oval racing and in IndyCar, then I'm more worried about like myself and hitting my marks in F1.
Well, awesome. Congratulations once again, Scott, for the good top 10. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, I guess I didn't sign my team up yet, but I can shout out my team, I guess. MRC Velocity Racing. And I'd like to thank Austin for letting me know about this league. And seems like it's getting bigger and bigger every week, and you guys are doing a good job.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you very
Scott. And hopefully we see you more in the future. And congrats on the top 10. You have a great day. And we got one last interview to go to. And I've kind of really been looking forward to this one. He didn't finish the race. He posted a message in our chat that he was very upset about drivers going into the pit lane and not taking responsibility. And he unfortunately got his front wing chopped off. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Burton.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So, what happened? From what we saw, it was just a car braking on the oval or just lifting off, and you unfortunately not getting out of the way close enough. Talk us through that incident.
Yeah, it's just one of those things through the pit stop cycle. Obviously, I pitted, I think lap 35, really good time to pit with the fuel strategy for the race. And I was flying on new tyres and I was coming up on some guys who hadn't made their pit stop yet. I was going probably about half a second, 6/10 quicker than each lap. So I was closing really quickly. And yeah, coming through turn 4, I was just flat out, max out, trying to make up as much time as I could on the new tyres. And one of the guys in front obviously was choosing to pit at that point. And as he slowed on the racing line, as you do when you've got no one around you, you will brake on the racetrack to put in here. And even if there's people around, you'll try and sort of stay on the track as long as you can as you pit. So obviously he's tried to get into pit lane and he's slowed down quite dramatically, and I just haven't been able to react in time, and it's taken my left front suspension off and the left front wing. I was able to cruise around for the rest of the stint, but then just parked it, and it was going to be a good couple of minutes of repairs.
Yeah, we were watching the pit stop cycle, and we didn't know anything. Nothing popped up on our tiny screen that you had that incident. No one's pit stop seemed anything weird. Then in the background, I just see a car just missing half its front wing, and that really raised a lot of concern for us. It just came out of nowhere for us. It was a big surprise. But the start of your race looked pretty all right. You were up near the front.
Yeah, I was having a really good, enjoyable race. I started towards the back because I didn't build myself a qualifying setup like the idiot I am. But the race car was good. We made up a good 10 spots over that first stint. And I think because we pitted early and got onto that fresh rod, we probably would have made up another 1 or 2 through the pit cycles had the incident not happened. So the car was really good and I was having a lot of fun working my way through the field. There were some good drivers out there. It was fun to have a couple of scraps with some of them. And hopefully you can have some more fun next season.
All right. We're definitely excited to see you here right now. And it just hearing the news that you're coming back next season, it's going to be very fun. There is a double header proposed in the calendar for next year at Homestead, both at the road course and the oval. So what are your thoughts towards that?
Oh, that'll be exciting. Definitely. I love the Homestead road courses are probably, in my opinion, the best rovals out there. They're really fun to race. They've got a great layout, some really good corners, especially towards the end of the lap. I'm not sure if we're running the oval at the end of the lap or the road course part, but that sequence is really fun.
It's the end oval, so we aren't using the chicane back onto this thing. It's road course B, so onto the oval.
If you don't want to destroy every front wing in the field.
That's true, but that's a really fun sequence of corners for me.
I know.
I'm a bit disappointed we don't get to race it. But it'll still be fun nonetheless. Homestead Road was a really good track.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us and giving your thoughts and just participating in the season and watching us on YouTube and being active in the chat. We really thank you for that. Before you go, anyone want to shout out?
Just the guys at i5G for the support on setups. They didn't really get to do anything this week, but hopefully next season a couple of more of them will come out for the races and we'll have a lot of fun.
All right. Well, thank you, and hopefully you have a good night over there across the seas. And I believe we are done for today. Marco, any closing thoughts?
Well, it has been absolutely a fantastic season. I want to thank everyone for joining us because I mean, this has been a pleasure, not only doing the races, etc., but also, Austin, it has been beautiful to see how slowly but surely the numbers have grown and grown and grown from the first broadcasts to this final one. We had ever increasing numbers. The community has been very, very present, and of course, hopefully, we made you happy by bringing back the popular Friday night strength of field. So thank you. And of course, we are going to just take 1 week off, and then for week one of 2020, we will be back. So, I mean, just have to find something to do next Friday evening.
Yeah, next Friday evening is going to be pretty weird without IndyCar. This has been a big part of my life. I remember at the start, the end of last season, I was talking with the Apex Racing TV admins. We were just like, I looked all over the place. I couldn't find a IndyCar strength of field race. I knew they were happening because people were earning points ahead of me. I'm like, where are they getting this race? And unfortunately, on Monday nights, we had your schedule was conflicted, my schedule was conflicted, Apex Racing TV schedule was conflicted, but we worked first few weeks. We tried working out on a day, didn't work out. And then we switched it to Fridays and we got the word out and we had a 14-man race in Phoenix. And after that, it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And I remember the excitement we had at Road Atlanta where we finally got IndyCar to split. And we were so happy because we thought this could definitely be done. And we had such a lot of good memories throughout the season. Indianapolis, that crazy finish. Vegas, that insane finish. The very first race with the John Downing in the wall finish. Henry Bennett, horrible qualifying, running up through the entire field to take the win finish. Walsh and Brands Hatch, that was a great race. So many amazing things happen here. I'm just saying thank you, everybody, and 2020 is going to be a very, very fun year and season here for the NTT Indycar Open Series here on Apex Racing TV. I've been joined by Marco Barbanera. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a great night.